Thomas Bertch, 79, of Cambridge City, passed away on May 21st, 2024 at his home. He was born in Richmond, Indiana on December 14th, 1944 to Ray and Marion Bertch, and lived in this area his entire life. Tom was a 1962 graduate of Milton High School and then was a lifelong farmer. He was devout in his faith and a member of the Jacksonburg Christian Church. He lived his faith through serving others by donating over 10 gallons of blood, as a driver for Western Wayne Senior Center, taking people to doctor's appointments, and at the Western Wayne Food Pantry. He was a member of the Western Wayne Young Farmers Club, enjoyed gardening and working on tractors and equipment. Tom was an avid Purdue fan and enjoyed all sports. Mostly, he enjoyed time with his family, going to his children and grandchildren's activities. He is survived by 3 sons and their wives, Brian and Heather Bertch, Alan and Lisa Bertch, Heath and Laura Bertch, 4 grandchildren, Shelby Bertch, Ellie and Randy Stoley Bertch, Olivia and Caleb Mikesel, Alex Bertch, 3 step-grandchildren, Kinsey and Sean Warner, Colton and Natalie Reed, Cutter Reed, great-granddaughter Riley Stoley, 6 step-great-grandchildren, 2 sisters, Diana Jo Clausen and Janice Louise Brooke, a special companion Reed Miller, and many nieces and nephews. In addition to his parents, Tom was preceded in death by his wife, Peggy Helmsing Bertch, on October 25th, 2021, and his stepson, Jason Daniel, in 2016. Right now, we're going to play the song, What a Difference You've Made in My Life. Once again, on behalf of the Bertch family, thank you all for being here today as we honor and celebrate and remember the life of Tom and what a difference he's made in your life is evidenced by the fact that you are here today. One of Jesus' first recorded sermons in the Bible is found in Matthew chapter 5, and he starts that sermon with a passage we call the Beatitudes, where he lists blessings and things that his believers, his followers will endure and will see. And one of those is this, in Matthew 5 verse 4 says this, "Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted." David had similar words in one of his Psalms, in Psalm 34 verse 18, where he reminds us that this, "The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit." Today, we're all gathered together and we're brokenhearted. Today our spirits are crushed, and today we mourn, because someone we dearly loved is no longer with us. Like most of you, I was shocked to hear the news that Tom had died last week, and I'm still stunned to think that he's gone. And I'm reminded that death is never easy, but when it comes so suddenly and so unexpectedly, it becomes almost more than we can bear. So we've come together today to mourn, but also to honor, remember, and celebrate the life of Tom Bertch, a loved father, grandfather, a brother, a soulmate, an uncle, and a friend. The fact that you are all here speaks of the difference Tom made in your lives. And the fact that you are here speaks of the man Tom was. I've known Tom for a long time. Being farmers and my dad a farmer, we saw each other around and about, sometimes at the elevator hauling in grain, or a lot of times at those farmer meetings that we all used to go to where we ended up eating at Wellworth or something like that. But once Tom started attending Jacksonburg Christian Church, I really got to know him a lot better, and he will be missed. He was an active and faithful participant in our church. He attended all of our activities and made sure to let me know when something stopped him from being there. And he always volunteered, wanting to help out at the start, the setup, and during the event, and was always there to help clean up and put chairs and tables away afterwards. And that's just like what several of you told me about him and his character. His sister Janice said he would do things that others wouldn't even want to do. Ruth and the boys said he was always busy and active. Heath said he made lists of things to do and was always so busy working with those and had more energy than anybody else they all knew. Enjoyed and worked in a nap in all that activity. That was pretty cool. The The boys remembered that as they were growing up, he was always so involved in their activities, especially with 4-H and FFA. They often teased him about needing sideboards for his dinner plate. It took me a while to figure out what was going on, and then I said, he put a lot of food on the plate, evidently. And they said he loved ice cream and sweet treats. One of Tom's favorite things to say, they told me, was son of a buck. He didn't want to cuss. He didn't want to curse, but he said he said it a lot when watching sporting events. And I can imagine it came out frequently as Purdue lost their final game of the tournament this year. Speaking of that, he was passionate about and loved sports, especially Purdue. He was an avid Purdue fan. You saw some of his Purdue attire over on the table over there. But he liked to watch other sporting events as well. On several Sundays, he reminded me that Purdue played at noon. You can figure out what he was inferring there. Always with a laugh, though. He never said too much about it. But when it came to sports, he was extremely proud of his grandkids and his kids and made sure to attend their events and their games. And he let us know he was watching and supporting all of you. The boys commented that Dad was always stern with them, but was fair, and ultimately he wanted what was best for each of them. And they said he seemed to show more love and compassion as he grew older. And they'll never forget how gentle he could be with them while teaching them about animal husbandry, especially around farrowing sows. He will be missed. His sister Janice, who was unable to be here today, wrote a letter of tribute and sent it to the boys, and they shared it with me, and I want to share just a few of her words. She wrote things like this: although we have lived apart geographically for so many years, our hearts were knit together in many other ways. Tom was a very loving man. He not only loved the Lord, but he also loved other people. I can think of many, many things he did throughout the years to help others. I didn't always think of him like that, though. In our younger years, he could sometimes be a downright pest. He enjoyed teasing me because my temper would flare, and then I would get in trouble, and he would laugh and grin while I got spanked. He knew which buttons to push. We loved climbing the willow tree, and in the 50s, when the movie The Greatest Show on Earth came out, we both decided that we wanted to become trapeze artists, so we practiced for many days in that tree until Tom fell out and dislocated his shoulder. She said he was my companion for many of my experiments. A few of them I'm not going to mention, although they are in the letter. She said that they tried to make glass one time and built a huge fire, and while they never made any glass, they did learn the melting point of the pot that held the sand. They played together and often got into trouble together, and especially after, she said, they threw rocks in the horse trough. There were many nights of sleeping in tents and days of playing in the haymow, where Tom once fell down the chute he warned his sister to stay away from and broke his leg. There were bicycle rides around the big country block and visits to Grandma and Grandpa Bertch. But the thing I loved the most about my brother was his big, loving, and caring heart. Never afraid to offer and give help. In fact, I wonder how many times he helped me move. He cleaned up after severe storms, tornadoes, or other disasters. He drove people places they needed to go, religiously gave blood at every opportunity, and gave some people a financial hand when times were tough, but never let others know about it. He was a living illustration of what Jesus instructed in Matthew 6:3. Never afraid of hard work, he would do things others would walk away from. Tom, you will be missed. Tom, I love you. And that kind of brings us back to this service and our time together today. Let's be honest. There's a terrible pain in our hearts. There's an ache that doesn't seem to stop. An empty house. A phone that won't be answered. And a Facebook page that won't get updated anymore. And then there's the question of why this happened. And there's a sadness of knowing that all that remains are memories of our beloved Tom. So what do we do? How do we move forward with a pain so great and a great big hole in our hearts? I'll offer a couple things. First, and I told some of the family I was with yesterday, be thankful for the great memories that you have with Tom. Whatever your relationship with him or however you knew him, he leaves us all with some wonderful memories. And I'd ask you to cherish them, to think of them often, and even share them with other family members. And I know the days ahead will be hard. I know especially how it is around holidays when there's that empty chair or that space where somebody used to be and they're no longer there. I told Brian and Heath and their wives yesterday that many people say time heals all wounds, but I'm not sure I believe that to be true. I've lost both my parents and my older brother, and I miss them more and more every day. Yeah, time has gone by since their death, but the loss is always there, and it's always on our mind. I'd say the pain doesn't go away. We just get used to living with that pain. Let's be honest. Death hurts. And I know you folks have heard. And there'll be times when you remember Tom, and it might bring you to your knees in tears. And that's okay. That's part of the mourning and grieving process. Those memories and pains reinforce how important Tom was to you all. But there'll also be those memories that bring a smile or maybe even a laugh. Cherish those. Thank God that you have those memories, because there are some families who don't. Not everyone had that kind of man in their lives, so be thankful for what you had. Embrace it, remember it, and share it. And the second way to help us move forward is just be thankful for the man that Tom was. He was a devoted Christian. And that fact helps to temper a little bit the loss and the hurt we're experiencing. Tom was an example of living on his faith. Not simply content to believe, he put his faith in action by helping others wherever he could. Listen, God has great promises of a future life with him to those of us who are faithful. And that helps ease our pain. In John 16, Jesus spoke to his disciples, telling them that he would be leaving them. And as you can expect, they were crushed. They were hurt. They weren't sure what to do next. But listen to what Jesus told them. In 22, he says this, "Now is your time of grief, but I will see you again, and you will rejoice. No one will take away our joy." See, Jesus promised his followers a great reward to come. And he's made that same promise to us, his faithful followers. We have promises of a reward with him in heaven. Listen how he describes that place in the book of Revelation. He says this, John writing that to us, got a chance to see that, says this, "Then I saw a new heaven and a new earth. For the first heaven and the first earth had passed away, and there was no longer any sea. I saw the holy city, the new Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God, prepared as a bride, beautifully dressed for her husband. And I heard a loud voice from the throne saying, 'Look, God's dwelling place is now among the people, and he will dwell with them. They will be his people, and God himself will be with them and be their God. He will wipe every tear from their eyes. There will be no more death, or mourning, or crying, or pain, for the older order of things has passed away.'"